Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here on the Train Hard Live Strong podcast. You already know I'm your host, Coach Matt. Today, I have an amazing guest speaker. So let's welcome Ashley Contorno. What's up, Ashley? How you doing?
What is up, everybody?
Yeah, dude. It is so cool to have you on here. Just like I was telling you before, you're very unique in what you do and how you train and this and that. So I'm very excited for everyone to grab some value from everything you're about to spit out right now. So
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be so fun.
Knowledge bombs.
Knowledge bombs. Yes.
Yes.
Which I wanted to get into with you. So I have not dove into a vegetarian lifestyle. I have not, done too much research on how to, gain muscle and, shred fat and be vegetarian at the same time. And especially on top of it, be a power lifter. I think that's crazy. I have been, I've eaten everything since day one. I eat meats, I eat vegetables, I have a good balance, meals with all my stuff. But you've been a vegetarian for 9 years and you power lift and you've been getting stronger and getting, you're still progressing. So first of all, what made you want to become a vegetarian?
Sure. So my Instagram name is Veggie Lifter because I've been a vegetarian for 9 years. On December 15th was my Vegiversary. And it wasn't, the decision to become a vegetarian was actually because, unfortunately, both of my parents, who are still alive and well, got diagnosed with different forms of cancer before the ages of 50 years old. My dad had parotid gland cancer and testicular cancer, of which both were removed without radiation. He is okay.
Thank God.
And my mother had stage 2 breast cancer. And then both of my grandmothers had cancer on my mom and dad's side. So, yeah. I was just like, man, my genetics are stacked up to predispose me to, some different things that I don't necessarily want. So aside from what are the things that I can do? So you have your genetics, which is the DNA that's passed down to you that you can't control, but then you have what's called your epigenetics.
Yes,
and that is all the other factors outside of your DNA that you can control through diet, exercise, nutrition, all those lifestyle factors, your exposure to pollution, all of that. So one of the best ways that I thought I was 21, that I could control my epigenetics was through my diet. I initially was like, I'm going to just do all organic, all farm raised, blah, blah, blah. But I was fucking 21 and in college and I could not afford that lifestyle. Right. So the next best choice was to be a vegetarian. And back then I lived in Ohio. It wasn't, so the majority of people think, oh my God, like, how do you do it? I would say the exposure and the market of meat-free or plant-based options has just grown exponentially. At that point in time, it was just starting with Boca and Morningstar and some of those brands that have been around forever. So it just took a little bit of research, but basically just like I think people overthink it.
Okay.
So I think of it this way, like, how do you just eat so healthy in a lifestyle where we're exposed to so many choices that aren't, like pizza, fast food, whatever? It takes preparation, timing, and thought. And same thing with being a vegetarian. It just takes a small amount of preparation, timing, and thought. Okay. And it's not that you're not getting a complete protein or, a balanced diet. It just takes a little bit of education in the beginning, just going into any different diet or lifestyle. So the biggest thing I found is, like, before I go to a restaurant, I check the menu to make sure that I have something I can eat. If I'm going out to a party, I make sure I bring my own dish. So if there's not choices for me, which anybody who is healthy might do that anyways,
Yep.
But nowadays, flash forward to 2020, like, you can go to fast food and get meat-free, plant-based options. Like, it's so saturated, it's everywhere. And insert meat option. Burgers, beef, chicken, fried chicken, whatever you want. There's a plant-based replacement for it nowadays. Yeah. So it really doesn't take that much thought anymore. Okay. At this point, there wasn't a moral, factor in it, but at this point, I would say that I have grown to have a moral, empathetic attitude towards the meat industry. And it's not necessarily like the meat itself. It's how we raise it, what we put into it, and the way that it is processed for our consumption. I don't necessarily agree with. So, just like religion, people have all of their own attitudes towards that. And I've had like, on one hand, I can count in 9 years how many stomach aches I've had after eating food. And I know it's a very frequent gastrointestinal issue that people deal with, especially
Yeah.
after eating like greasy chicken wings or something.
Yep. Yep.
That is not something that's in my world anymore. My energy levels are very balanced. My bowel movements are very balanced. I feel that I'm fueled and ready for training. I think the best thing someone can do, because I get asked this question a lot. The first question I get asked is, how do you get your protein?
Yep.
And they think I'm just like drinking protein shakes all day, but it's like, have you ever looked at a label of what you're eating? Almost everything has protein in it.
Yeah.
And I also think it's a misnomer or a myth in the fitness industry that you need 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
Mhm.
I'm a 168-pound powerhouse, and I eat around 100 to 120 grams of protein a day, and I'm not losing any muscle mass.
Killer, dude, killer.
Yeah, it's about stimulus, adequate stimulus, and adequate refeed. So with all that being said, I think that the best thing someone can do if they're interested in that is just to find a few resources, whether it's reaching out to someone who's had a successful plant-based or vegetarian lifestyle, or maybe just doing some quick internet searches, because a lot of people transition into that and they find themselves eating a lot of carbohydrates because they're scared.
Right.
And that would be the best, advice I would give is do a little research, maybe start with 1 day a week, see how you like it, find a plant-based replacement at the store, compare it to what you normally eat, like, oh, the beef for beef, it's not that much different, and, kind of go from there.
Right.